Hi, I'm Kyle Russell. Welcome to Arkansas Wushu. Let's go ahead and open up and get started. All right, so let's warm up a little bit. I'm going to start off with just some basic squats. So we're going to go down and back up 10 times. Let's go ahead and start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, from there, let's do some knees. Just going to come up, knee here, and back down. Let's do that 10 times on each leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we're getting a little bit warm. Today, if you're watching my videos, you'll notice that lately I put out yin shotokan. Went back and watched it, performed it in the snow. Was really disappointed in my drop stance or pavoo stance. So I'm going to take a little time to focus on that today. If you don't know what yin shotokan is, it's a staff form. I'll go ahead and form it for you real quick so you can see what it is. Do a mini performance. My room's a little small. Got to adjust here because I ran out of room. And this was the problem area here. When I would jump up and go to this stance here, I kept wanting to bend forward and hit. Guess I'm having to shorten the stances because of the room. All right, it's not a real hard form, basic staff form. I had a little trouble with my stances, so I didn't like it. So I'm going to do some stretching and some stance work today. Okay, so when I start off, I'm going to do that squat again, come up, throw a side kick. I'm going to do that 10 times on each side. So it will be for a 20 count. So we're going to alternate each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. That exercise always gets me a little bit. All right, so let's put our left foot back, right leg forward, and do stretch kicks. So keep your toes pulled back, pull the legs up. Bring it up as high as you can. Keep the shoulders forward. Don't let your back leg pivot. You want to keep the shoulders forward, not sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, switch sides. Again, keep this leg straight. Keep the toes pulled back towards the head. Lift the leg as high as you can. Try to keep the arms up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, let's do a side leg stretch. So we're coming from the side, bring the leg up and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, and we're going to end off with rear leg stretches, going to the back, lifting up as high as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so let's take a look at some of our basic stances to start off. So our first stance, of course, is the horse stance. This, put your legs twice underneath your shoulders. We're going to pull the hands back and bend your legs like you're sitting on a horse. Try to get your legs down to parallel. And one of the biggest mistakes I made was always thinking of it like a split, like always trying to go straight down, straddle down. It's not like that. It goes back as if you're sitting back on a horse into that sit position, right? So that's where I'm going to do that horse. Now another problem that's often seen is these toes being out, which is common in karate, but if we get into more of the fighting styles like Southern Kung Fu, we want to kick those heels out. So after we get down here, I'll make sure that heel is kicked out, almost making that squeezing stance. Next, let's look at the elbow position. A lot of people come out and their elbows are out to the side. We don't want those elbows out to the side. We want to tuck them underneath and in line with the shoulder. Everything in one solid line, not out here where it's going to not get our full energy from our strike, right? So let's go legs twice underneath the shoulders, kick the heels out, set down, bring the hands out, make sure to keep the elbows in, and let's stay here for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, I'm going to kick my heels out a little bit more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's come up. Relax that just a little bit. So that's our horse stance. I want to transition from that horse stance into our bow stance. So I'm going to come up a little bit higher, make it easier to explain it first. At full length, we want these parallel to the floor. But if you've got bad knees or an injury, or you just lacking flexibility, you may have to come up a little bit at first. All right, so I'm going to come up to explain things a little bit. So from here, I want to turn this foot forward. And again, ideally, we would have it parallel to the floor. But we may not have that flexibility at first. One of the differences between karate and kung fu is the stance design. Because if I'm doing this horse stance sideways and I turn, you can see I'm still kind of in a straight line. And my power comes from the hip here, or from that torque and that turn. Whereas a karate stance starts off wide and has to get more power from the hip rotation itself. Okay. So let's go horse stance, slide into bow, hold it for 5 seconds, back to horse, slide into bow, hold it for 5 seconds. All right, we're going to try to get those stances nice and deep. Okay, so horse stance, bow stance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to a horse stance. Back to a bow stance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come up. All right, so shake that out a little bit. I want to do this 2 more times. That same exact drill. All right, let's do the second time. Down to horse stance. Switch into bow. 1, 2, 3. Switch back into horse. Switch back into bow. 1, 2, 3. And you can come back to horse if you want for a bit of extra work to make that exercise just slightly harder. All right, so we're going to do that again. That'll be our last time doing that combination. All right, and 3. Horse stance, turn into bow. 1, 2, 3. Horse stance, turn into bow. 1, 2, 3, and up. Okay, so that's a simple horse stance to bow stance transition going from side to side. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a rocking exercise, getting ready to add in the drop stance. I'm not going to do a full drop stance yet. I want to put our legs about twice to their shoulders. I'm going to let this heel rock up and down. We're going to bend down till we touch the ground, straight. Now we don't want to stay bent over though. We want to try to straighten the back up as much as possible and then come back up and do it again. All right, so I want to do that 5 times on each side. I know this class may be a little bit more boring. We're just working on stances, but we need to get those stances down to have a strong foundation to make everything else look a little better and have a little bit more power. Okay. So 1, down, straighten, and back up. 2, trying not to put my hands down to make sure that I'm on balance the whole time. 3, 4, 5. Back. Okay, so we're going to do that same exercise on the other side. Hi, welcome to the class. Again, legs about twice length your shoulders. Let this heel come up. We want to rock it down until we're down in the stance and try to keep the back straight. Don't lean over and touch the ground. Let your legs do the work for the balance. Okay, let's do 5 on this side. 1, down. Keep the back straight as you can. Try to think of the string pulling your head from the ceiling and come back up. 2, and up. 3, and up. 4, and up, and 5, and up. All right, we're going to go back to the other side. This time, we're going to alternate sides and work on that poo-poo stance a little bit, or it's also known as drop stance. Some call it dragon stance. But have your legs about twice length your shoulders. Try to turn the front toe inward a little bit, and then bend that leg down as far as you can, keeping that back straight. You don't want to come up, turn the other leg in, and go the other way. I want to do that 10 times total. All right, so let's get that done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so now we're going to do one side then the other. We're going to work on transitioning from the drop stance to the bow stance. So we'll make this the long leg first. Want to drop down to a drop stance, or poo-poo. And as you set up, come into a bow stance, and then we'll go back. We're going to do that. We'll do it 8 times on each side. All right. So 1, drop stance, bow stance. 2, drop stance, bow stance. 3, drop stance, bow stance. 4, drop stance, bow stance. 5, drop stance, and bow stance. 6, drop into a bow stance. 7, drop stance, up into a bow stance. And 8, drop stance, up into a bow stance. All right, let's shake that out for a second, and we'll do the other side. Same thing, going from a drop stance to a bow stance 8 times. And again, we're working a lot on stances today. Okay. 1, drop to a bow stance. 2, drop stance, bow stance. 3, drop stance, bow stance. 4, drop stance, bow stance. 5, drop stance, bow stance. 6, drop stance, bow stance. 7, drop stance, and bow stance. And 8, drop stance, and bow stance. All right, so it makes sense, since we're working on our stances, to do the 5 stance form, also known as Wushu chin. So we're going to take a look at it. We'll do each part twice, and then we'll add on a part. So go ahead and grab a drink if you haven't already. And let's move on into this one. Okay, so starting off, just pull our hands back and look left. That's it. So that 2 times. 1, and do that, bring the feet together, straighten the spine, chin up, look out, try to, like I said, imagine a string pulling from the top of your head. That way you get good posture in this first technique. And 2. All right, so let's move on to the second technique. After we've looked left, we step out, staying straight sideways. Sweep this hand through, just pushing through like a chop, and throwing a reverse punch off the backhand. We're going into a bow stance. So again, you want this front leg to try to be parallel to the floor. You want that punch to be at nose level. All right, so let's do just up to there 2 times. 1, look left. 2, swipe through, bow stance, punch. And back up. And 2, look left, swipe through, reverse punch. All right, so the next technique, we do a kick and a punch at the same time. Not too hard, right? Backhand does a punch, front leg does a front snap kick, show down. The hard part about this movement is not raising up, because we went down deep to get this stance, and we don't want a big upward motion when we step. To smooth it out, instead we want to think of our head hanging from the string, which we'll have to break that rule in a second, but for as much of it as we can, we want to keep that head level. So after we come here and punch, we want to keep this knee kind of bent as we kick and punch for when we step in the next level. We don't want that head to raise or lower. We want to try to keep it the same height all the way through. All right, so let's add the kick and punch 2 times. I'm not going to worry too much about the step down because that'll be the next technique. Okay. 1, look left. 2, swipe through and punch. Good stance. Nose level. 3, kick and punch. Keep that head at about the same level. All right, let's do the second time. 2, look left, pulling everything up. Step out sideways. Swipe through to a bow stance with a punch. Kick and punch at the same time. All right, so from there, we move on to our next technique. What we're going to do from there is we set down into a horse stance. Again, these legs should be about parallel. This left hand does a high block with the palm open, as the right hand throws a flat fist. All right, so let's go ahead and do that 2 times. Shake your legs out a little bit. Getting kind of tired from all the deep stances. Look left. Step out sideways. Swipe through. Take a second to check your stance. Make sure your back's straight. Good straight spine. Fist is in line with the center of the body and the nose like it should be. Then kick and punch. Instead, try not to come up. You're going to a little bit at first, so it'll take some practice. And as you step down, going into a horse stance, high block, and punch. All right, one more time. And 2. All right, so after that, we will have to change heights a little bit. We'll come up into a more relaxed stance. So from the horse stance here, swing this left leg and kind of do a wheel arm. Bring this hand pushing down, thumb facing the ground, kind of like we're just pushing outward towards the chest there. Right? So if I do it facing this way. Sorry, let me go ahead and do that one more time. Right. So from here, swing the left leg behind, swing this hand down as the other hand comes over, and to that push. We're just keeping distance there. Okay? So let's do that 2 times. Look left, step out sideways, bow stance, leg parallel or as close as we can get. Try not to change the head height. Step down to another horse. Bring the left leg behind. Our head's going to raise a little bit as we come into a more relaxed stance and bring that hand down. And 2. Bow stance punch. Kick and punch. Upper block and punch. Cover. Basically just getting ready here. All right, so from here, I'll fall into a sitting twisted stance or a resting stance. Basically, what you're doing, I'll turn a slight angle here, is bringing this into a cross stance, slightly past it, and sitting down. Some people don't like to put their knee all the way on the leg because it's lazy. Some like to rest this shin on the inside of the other knee, but it's hard to get low enough that way. So what I like to do is just bring the legs together and come down and almost just sit my knee on my heel. All right, so we'll go up to there 2 times. All right, 1, look left, straighten the spine. 2, bow stance punch. Good deep stance, everything in line. 3, don't change that head height. 4, open hand, fist. 5, getting ready here. 6, drop to that stance. When we drop to that stance, let's go ahead and throw a vertical punch over it. Okay, let's do that again. And 2, spine straight, look left, step out and sweep through, reverse punch, kick and punch, step in, high block and punch. You can almost consider that a cross stance as you unwind into this block. Come down into a cross stance as you punch. All right, so from here, I want to stand up on one leg, and this left leg is just going to slide up with it as we do a spear hand here. So hand straight out like a willow leaf palm, coming up. Think of it like when we went down to hit to the groin and came up to strike to the eyes. All right, so let's do that much of it 2 times. 1, look left. 2, sweep through and punch. 3, kick and punch. 4, high block, punch. Make sure those stances are still good and deep. 5, come around. We can come up a little bit on this stance. Give ourselves a small reprieve. 6, switching heights. 7, switching heights. 1 more time. And 2. All right, so let's move on from there. If you don't know the 3 basic hands of Wushu, you have the fist, the palm, and the hook hand, right? So your fist either flat or vertical. Your palm, you've got the willow leaf palm, which is all together, or the dragon palm, which is more spread out. And you've got the hook hand, so bring all 4 fingers to touch the thumb and turn the wrist down. Use this often to parry punches out of the way, or use it as a crane beat to come up, hit underneath the chin, or almost hitting like a back fist. A few different uses for the hook hand. And that's what we're going to do next from this spear hand, is form a hook hand. And if you've done any Tai Chi, you'll know this as single whip. You're going to step out into drop stance, Pubu, the stance we were working on at the beginning, and we're going to open that up. Just like that. Again, try not to lean forward too much. It's going to look better if we can get our back straighter. So that's what we want to focus on there. All right, so let's do that much of it 2 times. 1, bring the fists together, spine straight. Look the direction you're going to be attacking. 2, step out sideways, sweep through, bow stance, straight punch. 3, straight punch with a snap kick. Try not to lift that head. 4, come down into a horse stance and punch. And remember, kick those heels out on that horse stance. Try not to let them come in too much. Step back, bring the palm down. Step into your cross stance with a punch and come up with a spear hand. While you're here, go ahead and turn that into a hook hand. Step out into your drop stance and open up for your single whip. All right, let's do that one more time. And 2. Elbow together. Lift that chest. Lift the chin. Look left. Step out. Strike. Try to get a good, solid bow stance. Kick and punch. As you step down, horse stance, high block and punch. Step back, push down. Go into cross stance with a strike. Step up, spear hand. Turn that into a hook hand. Open that drop stance up. Open up into single whip. All right, we have one more technique left in this form. So go ahead and grab a drink if you need one. And we'll finish this form off. This can be done either one way or done both to get back to where you started. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. So, from this drop stance, we'll be changing heights again. Because we go from the drop stance, I'm bringing this hand over, stepping forward. It's going to come into a hook hand, bring it behind, and push out with this palm into a cat stance. Cat stance is considered the hardest stance. Even after years of practice, I have trouble doing it completely because this back leg should technically be parallel to the floor with no weight on this front leg. You're basically holding the one-legged squat. So, in a lot of Wushu styles, they put it as the final stance where you can see even salutation because they want you to hold that at the end of every form to get better at that stance and develop leg strength for that cat stance. So you're probably not going to be able to go parallel, but you do want to come out and bring that back leg down as deep as you can get it. So I'm going to push myself a little bit so I may lose my balance once or twice. That's what that's about. Let's go ahead and do that 2 times and then get there. And then we'll do it 2 times, adding a whole nother section so that we get back to where we started from. Okay, so 1, bring the chest up, look left. 2, bring out to the side and punch. 3, kick and punch at the same time. And bend that leg. 4, set down, high block and punch. I'm going to scoot this way a little bit to make sure I have room. Kick those heels out just for good measure. 5, come around. 6, dropping height, dropping down into that stance. 6, doing the spear hand to the eyes. Keep that foot up. Hook hand. 7, step down, open up into single whip. And 8, step up into cat stance. And then bring that back together. All right, so let's do that one more time just like that. And 2. All right, so you may be thinking, but a form's supposed to end where it started, right? This goes that way the whole time. There's no way you ended where you started. We'll do that whole form again, just facing the opposite direction. So let's do that twice. So 1, open, look, swipe through and punch, kick and punch, upper block punch. Palm down, cross stance with a vertical. Stand up with a spear hand, hook hand, single whip, cat stance and push. Come up, look left, same thing. It's actually done on the same side even, just facing the opposite way. So again, it's a left sweep, right punch, right kick, stepping down, come over, vertical, back to the spear hand, hook hand, single whip, and cat stance. All right, let's do that one more time. and 2. This time though, we're going to hold each stance for 3 seconds just to get a good work in on those stances. All right. So 1, this is a formal ready stance. 1, 2, 3. 2, step out. Make sure that's parallel to the ground. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Into a horse stance, parallel to the ground. 1, 2, 3. We want to stop the relaxed stance too, just for the rest. 1, 2, 3. Down to the cross stance. 1, 2, 3. Back up into the spear hand. 1, 2, 3. Hook hand out into a drop stance. 1, 2, 3. And step up, cat stance. 1, 2, 3. Bring it together, look left. 1, 2, 3. Step out, on through, and strike. 1, 2, 3. Kick and punch at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Bring that in. Set down. 1, 2, 3. Step back. Bring that hand around. 1, 2, 3. Drop into cross stance. 1, 2, 3. Up and strike with a spear hand. 1, 2, 3. Hook hand over to a drop stance. 1, 2, 3. And the final cat stance. 1, 2, 3. And up. Good. All right. Feel a little bit better about my stances in that practice. Let's go ahead and bring out a staff or a small stick and do some practice getting down to that low drop stance. So I want to grab a small staff about 4 foot here. I could use the cane or whatever. If you've got nothing else, just grab a broom. It'll work. So what I'm going to do is the first strike comes from overhead and we strike down. And the hard part about this is when we're coming from here and we go downward, we have a tendency to want to lean forward. We don't lean when we use this drop stance. Instead, we use our legs to do all the work. So we come from here, and as we go back, the weight stays back, and the stance drops and hits down. All right, so we're going to do 5 slap smashes on the ground with each side. If you know how to do slap smash, coming from directly over the head, we don't want to be over one shoulder or over the other. This right hand should be grasping the bottom of the stick, nothing protruding out from the heel. And this top hand is just putting downward force, and when it hits the ground, it's going to hit it like a pull cue, keeping both hands on both sides. You don't want to be under because you'd smash your fingers. And for your staff, you are going to want a stick that has some flex, that bends. Bamboo, rattan, PVC, waxwood, white lotus wood are all great. If you use something, a hardwood like oak, when you hit the ground, it won't allow it to bend at all, so your stick's a lot more likely to break. You can still do it if you did it slow and controlled, making sure to hit the stick flat. But if you come down with a hardwood stick, you're probably going to break it. Okay, so let's do that 5 times with the right hand back and the left hand forward, with the left leg forward for the drop stance. 1, coming from overhead, down, and back up. 2, you just want to try not to lean forward. 3, and up. 4, and up. And 5, and up. All right, so we're going to switch sides. Left hand on bottom, right hand with a stick. Same thing. Kind of from straight overhead, straight down, dropping. We just don't want to lean forward. No lean forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So I noticed when we step back, it's a lot easier not to lean forward. So let's do 5-4 or 5 more, making sure to step forward. We'll stand on that left side. Notice as I was doing that, I was tending to bring the left foot back and bend. So I'm going to start a little further back this time and step forward left and slap down. Because if we're stepping forward, it's going to be harder not to bend over or have that forward momentum. All right. 1, step forward. Keep the balance over your center of gravity. Don't lean. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Other leg, same drill. 1, making sure to step forward. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, not too bad. So it's not too hard with a straight slash, but what about a sweep? So what I want to do next, just want to change stances 10 times total. When we do the left leg forward, I want to sweep across and back, switch into the stick, put the other leg forward, sweep across and back. Just want to do that 10 times total, switching stances every time. Really working on that drop stance today. Okay. 1, drop stance, sweep through, sweep back. 2, drop, sweep through, sweep back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that brings us to our sweep. Let's go ahead and do another form, just for the fun of it. We're going to do not so much step by step, so I'm just going to show you each movement and we'll work our way through. Let's go ahead and grab a drink. This form is going to be called Liang Wen Chin. It is one of the first core forms in Shaolin Kung Fu. Very similar to Wu Chin. So similar, in fact, that sometimes I mix up some of the movements. So it starts off the same way. Kind of steps out to an inward block instead of sweeping through, and comes through here like a hanging punch and strike. So starting off, come up, look left, step out into a horse stance, bring it out, and then let that flat punch just like we would be in Wu Chin. Okay? So go here, step out. Now we're at that first punch. The kick and the punch is the same. We step forward and punch. but we bring this hand back to the hip rather than doing the high block. All right, so let's do just that much of it real quick. Look left, step out inward block, hanging, straight punch. Kick and punch, step in and punch. From here, we're just going to bring our feet together, bring this up. It's called stump feet and back fist. Come here. Some people you'll see just come here. It's not wrong. It's just a different way or a different style of doing it. It gets passed down different from instructor to instructor. The way I do it is I circle up, stamp feet, and slam down. All right, so let's do it to there just twice. 1, 2. All right, second time, I'll explain it as we go through. That way you can get it. 2, look left, bring the fist back. Step out into a horse stance, bring the arm up to a guard. Turn, bring the hand back to the waist as you throw a straight punch. Kick and punch at the same time. Step down and do a straight punch. Bring the legs together, arm up, back fist down. Okay, so remember we got a hot change. So all we do is we jump up and we change to a palm heel with a high block. Just like what we would step down into, except it's a palm instead of a fist. Back to that 3 hands of Wushu. It could be a fist, it could be a palm, it could be a hook. It's probably going to be one of the 3. Okay. So let's do that twice. 1, look left, block, punch, punch and kick. Just side punch out, back fist, hop change with that press there. All right, and 2, let's do it again. Look left, inward block, punch, kick and punch. Sorry, straight punch, no high block here. Back fist, change sides, high block, palm heel. From here we step up into a bow stance, right palm heel, followed by a left palm heel. Go ahead and sweep that behind us with a hook hand, circling this hand over to a block and dropping down to a drop stance. Let's do that twice. 1, look left, horse stance, bow stance, punch and kick, punch to the side, stump feet back fist, high block palm heel, holding that horse stance, step in, 2 palm heels, hook hand, bring it behind you, circle up, drop down into a drop stance. One more time. And 2. Look left, like an inward block, hanging punch, punch, punch and kick, step into a side punch, hammer fist, upward block and punch, step out, 2 strikes, hook hand, and down. Okay, from here, do another hook hand, bring this under with the palm heel. As we step up into a bow stance, I'm going to circle this on around like as if we're swimming with a slap kick. As we step down, high block palm heel on the other side, somewhat leaning into it. And that's the first half of Wun Chun. So we'll do that twice and stop there. I'll show you the whole form once just so you know what it looks like. And then we'll do some stretching out. Okay. And 2. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so just so you can see what that form looks like, I'll go ahead and perform it once. This is Wushu, which is the first form in Shaolin Kung Fu. All right, so that's what that form looks like. Let's go ahead and stretch out a little bit. Just kind of get cooled down. So let's put the legs twice underneath our shoulders. Grab our elbows, hang down. All right, let's go to the other side. 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back to the middle, legs a little further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's put your hands on the ground and spread that as far as you can tolerate. And hold that for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let your heels turn up. See if you can go any further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's bring that up a little bit. Down on your knees. Walk that out. Put your hips on the floor. Look back up at the ceiling. And we'll count to 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put your hand across. This foot across. Try to keep your hip on the floor. Don't bring the hip up. Look behind you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. Same stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go back into a cat stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's lay down on your back. Put your hands out to the side and thrust the hip up. Stretch the back that way. Hold that for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let your back on the ground. Put your foot up on your leg and let that fall over to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bring it back up. Bring that up and grab your knee, trying to crunch that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll end off with a front split stretch on both sides. So left leg forward as far as you can get that leg out. After you do that, try to straighten that back leg out. Front leg split. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to keep those hands up to you, actually. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Putting your hands down helps you fight gravity, which we want gravity to kind of help with the stretch here. Other side, again, slide that front foot as far as you can till it's flat. You see I've got this gap because my knee's still bent. So I come up a little bit and straighten that leg out till I get as far as I can. And then I lift my body up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and that's class for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. I teach every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock Central Time. It can vary from Shaolin Wushu to chuan or kenpo or shotokan. Sometimes I do a little bit of Wing Chun or some ground stuff. Feel free to make requests. I'm happy to work with anybody on anything they want to work with. I also try to put out some other training videos. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And I will see you guys real soon. It's Tuesday, so we'll have a class on Thursday. And I'll probably have another video coming out tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Let's go ahead and close out class. If you don't know the closing for this class, start with our heels together. Right hand comes with a fist. Left hand open beside it. They don't touch. Right foot steps up sideways. Step forward, pushing both hands forward. Chopping with the side, pushing with the fist. Grab, pull back, and drop down. All right, thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next class.